You call yourself a man? You know you're a lying, low-life, motherfucking gambling degenerate prick. You know that's what you are?
Hello, you degenerate fucks, and welcome to the first episode of the Degenerate Gambler podcast. On this episode, we're going to talk about outright betting and just some picks I've had for the weekend and some bets I've already placed for the season. So, outright betting is obviously you pick a team to win a league, finish top four, get relegated. You know, there are many different selections, but a lot of people aren't fond of outright betting. I enjoy outright betting. I think it's worth putting that small stake on to possibly win big, and I've managed to do it a few times myself. So, with that said, this season, some of the teams I was looking at were I was looking at Stoke for promotion. Stoke are anywhere from 2-1 to 5-2. They're 2-1 with Boilsport and they're 5-2 with Sky Bet to win the league, which, you know, I don't know. Sorry, that was Sunderland. Sunderland are 2-1 and 5-2 was the thing. Stoke are promotion is 100-30 with Betfair, or 9-2 with Sky Bet, Boilsport, and a couple of other ones there. To win the league, they're 14-1, which is big. Also, a good price is to finish top six. Only Bet365 offer that, but they're 7-4, which is almost sort of 2-1. It's not bad. Another team I was looking at was Wickham to go down, but looking at the prices, it's not really, you're not going to win big on it. They're basically 8-11 or 2-3 on Sky Bet to go down. Someone else I looked at was Wigan. Now, I've went against this because Wigan have sold a lot of players. If they had kept the team they had, or a few of them, you maybe could have put some money on them. Also, the manager resigned. But just anyway, out of curiosity's sake, here's the prices. So Wigan for promotion are 5-1, or they're as big as 13-2 with Bet365. For the top six, they are 100-30, which might not be a bad shout. Might not be. For me, this is a great one that I will gamble on. I think I already have actually. Is Tranmere. Tranmere to get promoted are, what price are they? For top 7, they're 11-10. And to get promoted, they're 5-2, which for a team that before lockdown and all that there were in great form, actually had maybe in the top 5 or 6 in the last 10 games. They were in the form table, so a good bet. Looking at the three, maybe worth looking at the 3 teams who were relegated from the Premier League, because they all have decent squads for the Championship. So that's obviously Norwich, Bournemouth and Watford. Norwich are 9-4 to go back up promotion. Bournemouth 7-2, Watford 5-2. Now, of the 3 of those, based on their squads, I'd probably go with Norwich because they've kept their manager and they haven't sold any players as of yet. Bournemouth, obviously Eddie Howe's resigned or been sacked. They've probably got the best squad, but there's people facing around some of their players, so that might not be the best option. Let me just think. Who else here? Oh yeah, looking at Bolton. Bolton was another one I looked at. Bolton obviously in League 2, which is a team that big that's been in the Premier League shouldn't be in League 2. And Bolton are 5-4 for promotion and 5-1 to win the league with Badvik. 13-2 with Bet365, Betfair, and Paddy Power. And I say I sort of mentioned a wee bit about Sunderland, gave the price out, but Sunderland are 2-1, or as high as 5-2 for promotion, 7-1, and as low as 5-1 to win the league. Another thing that's outright betting on goal scores. Now at the minute I've been looking, I don't see anywhere that's offering top team goal score, which means the player will be the top goal scorer for their team. But usually they offer it. So just looking at top goal score for Premier League, Championship. So Premier League, Kane 9-2 William Hill. Aubameyang 11-2 William Hill. Aguero 15-2, not bad price if you think he's going to come back and score goals. Sterling 14-1. Sterling scored a lot of goals this year, and if he was a better finisher, he'd probably got more. Looking at the Championship one, Pookie 13-2 with Paddy Power, or you can get him at 8-1 with BetVictor. Another one to maybe look at, Callum Wilson 12-1. Now, if he stays with Bournemouth, that's a good shout, but there's a good chance he may, you're hearing rumours that Premier League teams are sniffing around him. Let me see. Oh, Josh King, his teammate, he's 20-1. But sometimes King, he plays on the wing a lot, so. And then Troy Deeney 14-1. Not a bad pick, but he takes a lot of penalties, and depending on how Watford start this season, that could be good value. Two prices that I can't find anywhere, and maybe someone can contact me on social media about this, is I'm really looking at Hearts to win the Scottish Championship. They have the manager who got Dundee United promoted to the Scottish Premiership, but there's no bookies that I can see offering prices on it yet. Maybe that's because the league doesn't start until October, so maybe they're just waiting there for prices. But if they were reasonably priced, I would back that. And also, one local to me is Linfield to win the Irish League. Linfield, they won the league last year. They won the league last couple of years, and they signed two of the best players from one of their biggest rivals. So last year, I remember they were 7-4, so I wouldn't expect it to be that high this year. But definitely worth looking at when they release a price. Going on, as I mentioned this, in case anybody didn't see it or listen to it on the trailer episode, I already did one outright bet for this season, basically because the Liga and the Romanian league were starting. So I'll just have a wee talk about that. So I did a £5 stake that pays £2,583, and it is Lyon to finish top 3 in the Ligue 1. That was 10-11, which I thought was unbelievable price, being that Lyon aren't in Europe this year. Stoke for promotion, as I talked about, I fancied it, 7-2. Tranmere for promotion, 5-2. Real Madrid to win the league at 10-11. Hull for promotion at 7-2. And Cluj to win the league at evens. Now, the big gambler for me is probably Hull. And the reason I went with Hull is they seem to be keeping a lot of players. They've signed some decent players, and I do rate Grant McCann as a manager. So that's the one that I have placed in the next week or two, just before the league start. I'll probably do two more, maybe £15 or £20 each on a quad, or maybe even a 5-timer, just depending on, as I say, what I keep studying, what I find out as far as teams are, buying players, selling players, keeping a hold of their best players or whatever. But as I say, that's one that I've already done. Just before we move on I just want to let everybody know if you want to get in contact with me, how you can do that on social media. So it's Instagram is Degenerate Gambler Pod. Twitter is Degenerate_pod. YouTube is the Degenerate Gambler podcast, and email at thedegenerategambler@outlook.com. So if you want to send me, any bets you done, you won, you lost, or any fancies you have, any teams that you think they can win the league outright, any leagues maybe that I haven't looked at yet, because I haven't really looked around most of Europe. I've looked at a few, but I'm sticking more closer to home for the minute. But it was kind of hard this year, the way the leagues have started. Let's say the Romanian league started, the French league started, Belgian league started. The English leagues are starting in a couple of weeks, but then the Scottish Championship's not starting for another month, and while the Scottish Premier League's already started. So really strange year this year for if you're into outright betting. But I'm sure if you hook about, there will be prices out there. So as I say, if anybody wants to contact me on social about any of the teams that I've said that I like, whether they feel I'm right, wrong, whatever, please do that. But now I'm going to move on to our picks for the weekend. So I was looking through the fixtures over the weekend, and there is some decent fixtures. But what I looked through was, so obviously the Community Shield is a match that probably a lot of people are going to want to gamble on. But price wise, it's not a great market. But one that I picked out, or a few that I picked out, were over 2.5 goals is 4-7. Both teams have scored 8-13. So not bad. Also, Bet365 do a bet where you basically can combine those two. So it's over 2.5 on yes in the same match, which basically means a minimum of 2-1 to any side, and that's 10-11. For me, that's but I'm going to put on a bet. Other games, so the EFL Cup started. That we have Stoke at, I think they're 6-10. They were 6-11 when I looked up earlier, but I think they've actually it's went to 6-10. You have Portsmouth at 4-6, or around 8-11 maybe. Kilmarnock and Dundee, both teams have scored. Something that I fancy based on Dundee have been scoring well, even though Lawrence Shankland is out injured. They've still been scoring nearly every game. And Kilmarnock at home, you'd always fancy a home team to score. Both teams are scoring that match is 19-20. As I say, even though Lawrence Shankland, who is Dundee's main striker, is out injured, I think with an ankle injury. But and then on top of that, would be fancy Cluj, obviously the champions of that league, and definitely fancy them at 3-4. So if you do all 5 of those with the yes in both teams to score, and then the other 4 selections, that pays 16-1. So 10 on that. It pays about 15-1. So it gets you back 160 odds. If you were to do it separately, if you didn't want to take the risk of doing the total goals on both teams to score, you wanted to pick one or the other, so you could pick over 2.5 at 4-7, or both teams scored 8-13. It'll come in around 13-1. So 10 on that gets you 140. So which is pretty reasonable, being that you're kind of hunting for fixtures. Say when the league start, obviously everybody's going to have more of a selection to pick from. At the minute, it's just you're sort of scratching around for something, anything. So the bets, I normally do more than one bet, but this last couple of weeks I've just been looking, maybe picking one, maybe two, one for Saturday, one for Sunday. But this week I've just looked and just thought, that one bet, and I've actually just posted it on both Twitter and Instagram. So if anyone wants to go and have a look at it, I've done it with Bet365 because they are the only bookmaker that offered the total goals and both teams to score in give the same price for it. So hopefully get a bit of luck with that. As I say, anybody who, again, any of those selections you like, don't like, or whatever, or if you have your own, certainly contact me on any of the social medias. Gladly waiting to listen to anybody's complaints or anybody's own picks. Another thing